got a soapbox I can stand upon, but
Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Daphne, and today we're talking about my 26th week of pregnancy.
involved in politics, religions, other people's.
All right, guys, week 26. It is the last week of the second trimester, and I am moving into the third trimester next week. It feels so good to have made it this far in pregnancy, and I only have a third of this pregnancy left, or less. And that is really exciting. It's so good to get to the third trimester. I'm feeling a lot more confident and secure in baby's development and growth and her safety, and that is so excellent. Let's talk a little bit about symptoms and stats this week. So this morning I got on the scale and I was 157 pounds, which is a 2-pound gain this week, which is unfortunate but unsurprising. My husband was out of town for the week. He went to California to take the bar exam, and it was just me alone with the girls, and we basically ate a lot of like fast food and junk food, and I am definitely a stress eater, so yeah, it just didn't go well diet-wise, and of course I didn't get to exercise at all this week because usually my exercise routine consists of, you know, we get up and then on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I wake up and go directly to the gym while my husband gets the girls ready and takes them to daycare while I'm at the gym. And then on those days, I handle bedtime so that he can do whatever he needs to do, if that's working out or whatever. So I just didn't have the opportunity to do that this week. I'm a swimmer, so, you know, I couldn't, it was either I would have to miss work to do that, and that wasn't going to happen because it was just busy. So yeah, the exercising just didn't happen last week. And, you know, obviously there's a direct correlation between your diet and how much you exercise and the weight that you gain. So, it's okay. I'm not going to freak out about it. I have gained a total of 13 pounds here at 26 weeks, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. Probably at this point in my previous pregnancies, I'd gained about 30 to 35 pounds, with a total of 60 pounds gained in each of my previous pregnancies. And so the fact that I'm, you know, 2/3 of the way through and up 13 pounds, I'm okay with that. In terms of symptoms this week, you know, I think I was so busy with my kids and with getting, you know, taking care of life that I just barely even had time to even think about myself and like my symptoms this week. But I was very tired this week. I think that's normal. I've still been having issues with feeling like shaky and tired sometimes. And we'll talk a little bit about that. I found out some stuff about my blood sugar this week, and yeah, we'll go into that. So I had my doctor's appointment, you know, it's my first third trimester doctor's appointment yesterday, a little bit early, but that's okay. And so what my OB wanted me to do was come in and do my 1-hour glucose challenge test, which if you have never had a baby, what it is they have you drink this little drink, and I actually don't remember how much glucose is in it. It might be like 50 or 75 or 100 milligrams. I'm not sure. It's like some set amount of glucose, and it's a lot. So it's like a lot of sugar, and you have to drink that little drink within 5 minutes, and they like watch you drink it and make sure that you drink it all the way down. And then you have to come back in exactly 1 hour from when you finish the drink to have your blood drawn so that they can check and see how much glucose is in your blood. And they can see if you have gestational diabetes based on that. Now, if you recall, and I will link the video here and down below, I was thinking maybe I had gestational diabetes because I've been having a lot of these incidents where I'll be like totally fine and I'll get a little hungry, and then if I don't eat right away, like it progresses really fast from me being hungry to me being extremely faint, hot, sweaty, shaky, and dizzy, like where I have to lay down. So I was thinking, oh my gosh, like I must have gestational diabetes because my blood sugar is doing like these really weird things. And so I was excited to finally get in and get this 1 hour glucose test, just to see if I have gestational diabetes. Now I went yesterday to the OB and I had the test and I got my test results back through the online portal. But I haven't had a chance to like review the results with my doctor. But a passing result is, I think it's under like 130 or 140. And that's like, you don't have gestational diabetes if you're under that. Maybe it's 120, I can't remember. But in my last pregnancy, I was like just above that threshold. And so then if you fail, you have to take the 3 hour glucose test, which is, they give you like a massive amount of glucose. It's like way more than the regular. And then they take your blood in the beginning, you drink the thing, and then they draw your blood each of 3 hours in like 1 hour intervals for 3 hours. So you get 4 blood draws and it just really sucks. So I had to do that last pregnancy and I passed that. And so didn't have gestational diabetes. And in my first pregnancy, I think I had passed with like a 120 or something. So I've never had gestational diabetes, but I have failed this 1 hour test. And so I had like, you know, like a 110 to 120 and then like a 130 to 140 last time. And then this time I got my result back and it was a 69. So really low. And that's actually lower than what they want you to be for a fasting blood draw without consuming any glucose at all. So it's, you know, I haven't had a chance to talk to my doctor about it yet, but I've obviously done a lot of Googling, because who wouldn't do a lot of Googling? And anything under, it depends on what source that you're looking at, but anything under either 80 or 70 is considered hypoglycemia, so like low blood sugar. And in the case where you like intake a lot of sugar, your body can process it like too fast, like it releases too much insulin, to the point where like your body processes the sugar too quickly, and then you have a what's called reactive hypoglycemia, where your blood sugar just tanks. And so it seems like that is what I'm experiencing. So it's not gestational diabetes, it's kind of like the opposite, where my body is handling sugar too fast and it's causing me to have these blood sugar dips. Now, I don't know if my doctor is going to make me retest because my result was so low, or if she'll just be like, well, you don't have gestational diabetes, but you need to like watch what you're eating and like watch your sugars, because if I have too much sugar, obviously it's causing, you know, my body to like produce a whole lot of insulin and like immediately get rid of all the sugar like really fast, to the point where like if I have too much sugar, my blood sugar is going to dip down and cause like a crash or whatever. So yeah, so there's that. And I don't know why that's happening. You know, I'll talk to her, and I talked to my sister who is a nurse, and she said basically like it's not gestational diabetes. Obviously, it's kind of the opposite problem. And there's not a lot that they're going to do for it, other than like, they're going to have to watch the baby, because that can cause like fetal growth restriction, which is great. Another thing to worry about. But the way that you fix it is just by like avoiding large quantities of sugar so that you don't like have a crash, and then eating, you know, regularly throughout the day, like every 2 hours or whatever you need to do to keep your blood sugar stable, so that baby is getting enough, you know, sugar or whatever it is that baby needs to grow. So there's that. So that put me at a higher risk for fetal growth restriction. And then the other thing that I found out when I was at my OB is that I have something called marginal cord insertion, which, so you have your placenta, which is like this big organ that attaches to the side of your uterus, and your umbilical cord connects from your placenta to your baby. And my baby's umbilical cord, instead of attaching into the center of the placenta, which gives, you know, the most blood flow and the most nutrients to the baby, it's like if the placenta's here, like it attaches off to the side of the placenta, and most of the time it doesn't cause an issue. It's not a big deal, and you'll go on to have a normal, healthy pregnancy, and the baby will be fine. And in some pregnancies, it can cause growth restriction for the baby. So now I have 2 risk factors for fetal growth restriction, and I don't know. I'm not that worried about it yet because it seems like she's growing on track, but it's just going to be something that we watch really closely in the 3rd trimester, I'm assuming. And again, I haven't had a chance to like review any of these results with my doctor yet. This is just through me like Googling and seeing like what all these things mean, but I'm guessing that she'll want to watch closely. You know, obviously I'll keep all my regular appointments. She'll keep measuring me, and stuff like that. So yesterday, when I went to the appointment, she did measure me, and I've described this in a previous video, but what they do is they take a measuring tape and they put it on your pubic bone, and they measure from your pubic bone up to, they feel for the top of your uterus, which you can feel mine's like right here. And they measure that, and that should be the same amount of centimeters as you are in weeks of pregnancy. So I was right at the end of 26 weeks. So she measured it, and I was measuring 27 weeks. So that's perfect. She said it was right on the money. It's 100% perfect. I didn't ask this because I had to go, like I had drinking the glucose thing. Drinking? Wow. Prig brain. I had my glucose drink, and then she had wanted me to come in and get like my appointment done during the 1 hour waiting period and then go have my blood draw. So we were in kind of a rush, and I didn't have, well, I only had like maybe 6 minutes with my OB this time. Oh my gosh, I totally just lost my train of thought. Another symptom I'm experiencing is baby brain, which is like, it's really real. Anyway, so whatever, she had measured me, and last time that I got measured, it was like, I want to say it was like a month ago, I was measuring 25 weeks. And so in the last month, she's gained 2 centimeters. And like, this is kind of a subjective measurement, and for me it's always been a little bit off. And she said that if you're like plus or minus 2 centimeters in either direction, like it's not a big deal and it's not anything to worry about. But it seems like a little bit weird to me that I've only gained 2 centimeters. Excuse me. It seems a little bit weird to me that I've only gained 2 centimeters in the past 4 weeks. And of course, you know, I'm looking at the hypoglycemia, I'm looking at the marginal cord insertion, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know. I'm just worried about her having something called intrauterine growth restriction, which is where your baby, you know, stops getting enough nutrition from the placenta, and sometimes it's fine and you just end up having a smaller baby at the end at term, and sometimes it gets to the point where they want to induce you and take baby early. So I just, you know, I've been saying this since the very beginning of my pregnancy. I don't want to be induced. You know, I want to go into labor naturally. I want to experience that. And I don't want like health issues for myself or for my baby. So anyway, my plan, I get to go back and see my OB again in another month. And my plan in the meantime is just to really stay on top of my diet and making sure that I'm eating enough and making sure that I'm eating often enough that I'm not ever getting these blood sugar dips, because anytime that I start to feel like really shaky like that, it probably means that baby's not getting enough nutrients. And so it just means that I have to either like set a timer or something for every 2 hours and eat small meals during the day and, you know, healthy, like really nutritious foods that are fueling my baby and fueling myself, and not eating junk or empty foods. It's just, it feels like a really big balancing act, because I don't want to gain too much weight. Obviously I don't want to just be like pounding burgers or anything, because that's not the way that you fix, you know, growth restriction in a baby, because that's not going to help them at all. That's just going to cause you to gain unnecessary like body fat, and it's not going to fuel your baby at all. So it's really a matter of having, 2,000 to 2,500 calories a day split up into increments so that it's every 2 hours during the day, and it's, high protein, low in non-essential fats, right? Like the bad fats, and higher in the good fats, and, lots of whole grains and things like that. Obviously high in fruits and vegetables always. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to be really on top of my diet. That's my goal for the rest of the pregnancy, is like really stay on top of my diet and make sure the baby is getting what she needs. And it seems like she's growing okay, because I'm measuring 27 weeks here at almost 27 weeks. It's good. I've gained like exactly the recommended amount of weight so far, so that's good. I'm just, there are lots of things that could go wrong, and I'm just like eyeballing those things, like, gosh, what can I do to make sure that these things do not go wrong? And you know what? In every pregnancy and birth, like, you just have to take what comes at you. And, it could end up that she's totally fine and I stay on top of it and she's super healthy. And it could end up that, she gets growth restricted, and we just have to do what we have to do to keep her safe. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at this week with that. And let's see, what else can I tell you? So also at my doctor's appointment, I had a complete blood count drawn, which is just like a lab to check out your blood and your blood cells, and everything came back normal. There were only 2 values that came back like a little bit low, and they were right on the threshold, like literally like 1 point above the threshold, so still within normal, but like if it dips any further it will be low. And that's like, what was it, like my hemoglobin and one other thing. Basically it was the 2 levels that connect to your iron supply. And I've been anemic in all of my pregnancies, so I know that it takes a little extra iron, and I am taking an iron supplement, so I'm just gonna stay on top of that, and I guess, continue eating lots of leafy greens and red meat where I can. So yeah. Other than that, baby Lily is doing great. She is kicking up a storm. She's really doing well. Obviously she's growing well because I'm measuring dead on, and she is at 2 pounds this week. So she's finally hit the 2 pound mark, which is super, super exciting. She's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then she is 14 inches long, which seems like really crazy because a lot of babies, when they're born, they're like 18 inches long. So she's really grown, like almost to her birth length. We're getting really close there. And so now we're just packing on fat. And, I'm really hoping that we can continue to put on as much chunk as we can, because chunky babies are healthy babies. And yeah, so that's the goal. Just keep growing this baby girl. If any of you have ever had any kind of experience with like hypoglycemia in pregnancy, or if you've had marginal cord insertion, or if you've just, known someone or something, put your experience down below in the comments. That would really help me out. It would be so nice to hear positive experiences from people who have gone through the same thing that I have. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys next week for my 27-week update. And I do videos every week. I do a weekly pregnancy update, and I am planning on filming the birth in whatever form that takes for this baby. So go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you're interested in following my birth journey. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.
Let's all get together, we can all be free, spread love and understanding, positivity. We could change this whole